Believe me, that's hard to follow. And I haven't seen, talking about old friends and things, and Roger Casares is here, and I watched Mac from a very early age and watched it develop, and he really is a real hero to me. Roger and I served on the board of the National Council de la Raza. I was the first Anglo. I was there for 10 years. But Roger was part of the sinews that helped make it all happen. Anyhow, there's no way I can say anything after that speech. But I did make some notes. I'm notoriously good about speaking up. And I really want to thank Donald Cohn and everybody here. You know, you're the ones who work to do what needs to be done. And all of you are here tonight are supporting and making that possible. And we all owe you a great debt. This is special for me. I got involved, really truly involved, in minimum wage, in living wage, while I was still in Washington. And actually, in the 90s, I became aware of it. And the anecdote I'm going to give is not perhaps politically correct, but it explains why I am so determined to do everything I can to support a living wage. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I know Don, and why I know the work you do, and why I appreciate being here. And so I wrote a note about this anecdote, and I will put on my glasses, and I will try to read my note. In 1990, when I was putting together Eureka Communities, and Roger was one of my, I have two of my, Roger was one of the Eureka Fellows in San Diego, and Sister Raimunda is here, and she was one of the fellows, and I might even have some others here. But when I was putting together the plan, I spent some time looking at best of best products, best of best efforts in New York City, in the Bronx, and in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And when I was working there, trying to create a functional plan for Eureka, I went to look at a really superb computer and job training facility in the Bronx. And there were about 15% occupied. I mean, there was this beautiful facility at great expense, and there was just nobody being helped. There was nobody there. The staff was just sitting around. And I asked them, what's the problem? And they were sort of vague. Obviously, they knew it, but they didn't want to tell me. And so I went to see some of the mothers in the houses around. Now, this part of the Bronx, they had lovely apartments. They had been vacated not too long before as people moved out to the suburbs. The houses were clean. They were nice. The super carried a paintbrush and a little can of paint to keep everything super clean. And I met with several groups. I had tea with several groups, and I tried to talk them into going in for the job training because they had this beautiful facility. They were single moms. The kids had lots of toys. Everything was just really spotless, and I couldn't understand why they didn't go in for training, and they explained that they couldn't survive on a minimum wage job. They could survive on welfare. And so they had nothing much to do, and so they had more children, and they were trapped. When I suggested to these women that they should go to the school practically around the corner to learn the skills that would enable them to get a good job, they answered they could not afford to go to work. They pointed out they needed to pay for rent, childcare, medical care, etc. And when you added together welfare, aid for dependent children, doctor and dental care, rent subsidies, etc., it totaled roughly $18 an hour. If they got a job at minimum wage, they would lose all the benefits. And besides, Out of that minimum wage, they would have to pay for childcare, transportation, lunch, and proper clothing. I heard that same story again from single moms in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I'll always remember the social worker who said that if the minimum wage was a livable wage, the government would save money. And the social workers could turn their attention to do something more productive, since most of their social services would not be needed. There's also an added intangible value, a sense of dignity, quality of life, that a worker enjoys when he is able to support his or her family. For such a dream to come true, we need the people who run CPI, the people who believe in its mission, for it benefits us all. There's a great deal of work to be done for that day to arrive, where a living wage is indeed a living wage. And we need to work and dream and think about it. We need CPI if we to enjoy quality public services, sustainable communities, and a healthy environment. I can't imagine a nobler or more worthwhile goal. Thank you.